And welcome on back. New phase, new toys to play with, but before we do that, there's going to be a few things I want to research to show off here at the start. This here is a very special thing to unlock.
Production amplifier unlocked. Every single manufacturing and smelting building will be backwards compatible with this new technology. These buildings can now have a Somersloop embedded to increase resource output without requiring more input, at the cost of greatly increased power consumption.
Flow cycles within flow cycles make explosions into temples and explosions into temples. The spin sphere of woven windows. Each tiny body contains tinier bodies until the line layers fold into curves which folds into threads which weave the tapestry. A song of light and leaf and flower, a dance of matter clouds and...
I think they're trying to explain energy to matter conversion theory, but you do not need to understand it to do your job. I'll just mute them for you so you can continue your mission. I, however, will be taking notes. This is fascinating material.
So yes, we get something that multiplies the output of what a building is making without increasing the input. And it also increases the power. So I've been saving up all of my slugs for this. Just a note though, the very first item you make before you put in a sloop doesn't actually apply its effect. But as we can see here, the constructor went from 4 megawatts to 16, but now it's making 2 shards for our power slugs. I believe it'll be 4 for yellow and 10 for purple. And you can see which one of your things is sloots because it has this cool plasma effect. Also, it makes spooky sounds. And I've also been holding on to the remains of various aliens that I've been killing, because you can also, pretty much anything that can be constructed or assembled or smelted can be multiplied. So we'll just let it do its one time, and there we go. We now double out how much protein we get from one of these. And then we can further increase it by slooping another constructor and setting that one to create the DNA capsules. So now every alien remain makes 4 DNA capsules. So yeah, I'll just go on ahead and off screen I'll set up some containers to input more remains and have the protein deposit itself straight into the DNA capsule machine. And once I go through all the remains I've held up to this point, take your bets on how many tickets I got. Holy shit. If only I got another 2 tickets. But I just want to note, next point for DNA capsules is 19,000 with all those ones that I've been throwing in. Meanwhile, I need something like 120,000 for regular points. So yeah, if you want to just get a buttload of tickets, sloop up your alien remains.
Walls are one of humanity's greatest inventions. They definitely stand above floors.
Heh. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna go out and buy some stuff. I'm skipping ahead because Ada wasn't saying anything for the other things I was grabbing. But here's one special item that I really wish I grabbed a lot earlier.
It is speculated that, in the earliest days of humanity, people created drums and similar instruments to derive pleasure and social unity from the rhythmic sounds, accompanied by gyratory movements. Congratulations for unlocking a device that, thousands of years later, fulfills exactly the same function, except with a requirement for rare metals and plastic components.
If you enjoy the tunes we've been hearing so far, well, time to change it up. Oh yeah. Apologize if you get motion sickness, but I just gotta rock out to these jams. And hey, check out our Explorer. It seems to handle a lot better than I remember, because I would be like flying off into the stratosphere at this point. But now we're just gonna jam out to some tunes while taking a drive to our next location where I'll be building things. And just to say, going forward, I plan to do this thing where I'll kind of explore by driving to where I want to build a factory and then do some like pre-setup, and then the next video will be like going full on in and making the factory, so we're not having hour-long videos. Now, a weird feature in driving is that the different creatures just don't react to you at all. Vehicles are also immortal, and hey, this cave. Alright, you saw that, right? You saw all those spiders just appear. That is why I get very paranoid when going into certain areas, because it's not just a case of, is a spider here? But will a spider suddenly spawn in front of my face? But hey, we've arrived in... Oh, hey, look, another creature that just popped up. Alright, time to use the bass boost. So, the creature is making noise like I am hurting it when I do that. I just don't know how much damage. But one of the pro strats would be to use that to knock things off of cliffs. Also, this particular spitter, as we just saw, it can spit out, let's try that again, homing plasma. And it can take a lot of punishment. Good lord. The said plasma can also apparently split apart sometimes, which it does a lot of damage. So let's just stick to throwing dynamite at this guy. And yes, you can put down the boombox, just try to remember where you put it, because there's no map marker or anything. You'll just have to wander around following the sound. We're going to drive across the way here, because I want to get that power tower over to that other location. Now, what is nice is that there is some water right here, which we'll be needing for the future factory. And lots of bacon mushrooms, too. And some nearby sulfur, which is something that we'll definitely be using. Because I don't just need a... Well, that'll be the next video. But I'm looking to make gunpowder, and we need sulfur. So, here's the sulfur. But before I really start getting into this factory, we need to unlock a few things. So we're just gonna put down a few basic stuff that gets into oil processing. There are a few oil nodes here, nothing too fancy. I think it's 2 regulars and 2 impures. Impures will give us 60 crude oil per minute, and we need to toss those into factories to start processing them. What oil introduces is byproducts. So if we want to churn crude oil directly into plastic, it leaves behind heavy oil residue. And if we do it for fuel, it leaves behind resin. And you need to handle that byproduct, because if the byproduct slot gets full, it clogs up the machine and you can't produce anymore. So to deal with our heavy oil residue, what we can do is make petroleum coke out of it. Petroleum coke could be used in coal generators, but it won't produce as much power as proper coke would, or proper coal would. So for right now, I'm not really gonna bother with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and sink it. And there we go. Don't have to worry about clogging up our refineries. Because we will need plastic and rubber to start unlocking milestones. Thankfully, that oil well will be able to provide enough oil for a rubber and a plastic, and that one refinery will be able to handle the oil residue of both. And just to say points-wise, petroleum coke ain't that great. And we'll just let these build on up. Time to start unlocking some milestones. Something that doesn't need plastic and rubbers or jetpack.
Milestone reached. Fix-It has granted you the power of flight, provided you have a jetpack and the appropriate fuels. The jetpack refuels automatically while you are standing on a surface, and different fuel types will affect the jetpack's functionality. With this increased versatility, you will no doubt achieve efficiency levels previously unheard of.
Oh yeah. Jetpacks definitely help with exploration. Next up, we need to unlock smokeless powder, which will let us unlock the rifles.
Research completed. Smokeless powder recipe unlocked. New sulfur research available for the development of high-end weaponry and ammunition.
It can only be made in a refinery though, requires gunpowder and heavy oil residue, so I'll go ahead and get that going off screen just so I can start unlocking some stuff and crafting a few things.
Dimensional upload speed increased. Part of the kinetic and thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing for more parts to be transferred in a short time frame.
Loop the veins, use the flow, make a curve out of a line. Your shallow minds create shallow solutions. Pretty ripples.
Shallow mind? Pretty ripples? I certainly hope that wasn't meant to include me.
rude. But now we can upload stuff to the Dimensional Depot twice as fast, so that's always good.
Compacted coal unlocked. It is physically smaller and more powerful, but its carbon footprint remains enormous. This fuel upgrade can be used in coal-powered generators and vehicles.
Yeah, they could be used in those if you feel like wasting them. Sulfur is a rather precious resource in this game. Unfortunately, we cannot make compacted coal by hand. We have to use a assembler for that. So we'll take care of that unlock a little bit later.
Milestone reached. It is my honor and privilege to inform you that the fuel-powered generator, as well as the industrial fluid buffer, are now available. Due to a lack of gold in your sector, Caterium will serve as a suitable replacement to construct the fuel-powered generator. Your research into this element was valuable. In fact, you in particular are my most valuable pioneer, but don't tell the others I said that, it would be bad for morale.
Ha, you hear that? I'm valuable. But hey, we can finally get some proper weaponry.
Rifle and rifle ammo unlocked. A long-range weapon and rapid-fire ammunition, only to be used for the defense or acquisition of fix-it property. Conveniently, this includes everything of value on this planet.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Still need a few more things before I make the factory unlocked, so till then, how about we try out our new toy? And I don't think I've shown myself off doing some like real traveling with the power towers, so just gonna keep this in. Definitely don't think I've shown off how you'll automatically continue moving forward like that. And hey, it lets us get a nice little view of the area as well. So as I've pointed out with the earlier with the rebar gun, if you crouch, you can shoot at those things without them activating. God, just look at them all scatter. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Now we have some unfinished business with a nearby cave, so let's bring the vehicle on over and take a look. Of course, we have both a upgraded spitter as well as that hog, which I don't think we've seen before and I haven't explained. We'll see what they do here in a minute. God, so many caves. So these type of hogs spits rocks. So if you ever thought you were safe standing at a distance from them, well, it was a rude awakening when I learned that, because I was on the edge of a cliff and their rocks have knockback. They do still have the charge thing too, but just don't think you're safe standing at a distance. So besides having more than one shot in the round compared to the rebar gun, another big advantage that the rifle has is that its shots are hit scan, whereas the rebar is projectile. So you don't have to worry about bullet drop. But I'm pretty sure there is like an upper limit to how far away you can shoot before the bullet just vanishes. Anyways, if you're scared of spiders, I look away for a bit. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a Nobilis to start getting them out of hiding. God, there's like 4, 5. But that's okay, they're all crowding around where I'm shooting at. Oh. 6, 7, 8. God, the grass is too high. 9. Oh God. 10. God, little bastards. Just making sure there's no other nearby enemies. And I did try to hop in my vehicle while I was reloading, but you can't do that while you're reloading.
Samples of unknown alien species acquired. Initial data suggests these are predators, but notably they do not have a traditional mouth or eyes. There are, however, numerous cavities on their head which could fulfill a similar function. Research the remains in the MAB to establish classification and potential countermeasures.
And no, I am not going to be going inside the cave to fetch the rest of the remains. Thank you very much.
The remains researched belong to an organism with 8 jointed legs, similar to the legs of arachnids but with non-standard distribution and function. Because its attacks focus on stabbing prey with the ends of their legs, which resemble insectoid stingers, they have been dubbed stingers. Stinger remains can now be made into alien protein, and additional research may reveal options for improving Pioneer safety during exploration.
The Pioneer safety they keep talking about is the ability to have your scanner detect hostiles. Which, I mean, sure, it'll show you where enemies are at, but there's kind of enemies everywhere.
Research completed. High-speed connector recipe unlocked. New Caterium research available.
Alright, and with this milestone, we can finally put fuel into containers, as well as other liquids.
Milestone reached. Avoid the embarrassment of placing liquids in your pockets only for them to spread across your suit. Package and unpackage them with the packager. Packaging fluids allows them to be transported in your inventory, on conveyor belts, and by vehicles. For increased, non-pocket related fluid storage, you can now use the industrial fluid buffer.
Weird that we unlocked that twice. I think that may have just been an error. But now that we've got that unlocked, well, first let's just go ahead and grab the Mark IV Logistics, which uses up encased steel beams to make those belts.
Milestone reached. The transportation of resources can reach new heights of efficiency. With the Mark IV belts and lifts, the truck, but even more importantly, your effort. Handling a large and complicated vehicle like the truck should come easy to a well-trained pioneer such as you. They are an obvious improvement over tractors concerning industrial purposes. Improvements for personal use were not measured.
So we can now move items at 480 per minute. That's nice. And the truck, it is gigantic. Maybe we'll see it another time. But hey, you got this building here. Got a storage container here as well, full of leaves. I seem to recall this being where the biofuel burners were at. So in here, I have some smart splitters splitting off alien protein, leaves, and wood, except I'm a dummy and forgot to properly set this splitter up. Just because it says, just because I have one thing set to wood doesn't mean that if I have the thing set to any, you know, it means any will go through. Let's go ahead and fix that on up. So we got these 3 machines, all making biomass, and then all that biomass is going into this constructor over here, making biofuel. And then these are the belts going to and from the motor factory, and I just had it go through the building, make it look a little bit cleaner, you know. And now we're gonna need to put a belt all the way out over here. I had the belt leading out of the constructor making the biofuel logs. Goes to a splitter, so it'll evenly split 1 and 2. Sadly, there's no way to like program a ratio, like, you know, send every 2 this way and then 1 this way. The only way to really do that would be to just basically make extra splitters down the line that then loops back into a merger. Now, what am I going to be doing all the way over here? Well, with the fuel power we unlocked, we can make not just regular old fuel from oil, but we can also make biofuel out of it. And obviously that requires biofuel logs. Honestly, it's kind of impressive just how far the refinement, I guess, for biofuel can be. First you need logs, leaves, or protein, then you turn it into biomass, then into a log, and now you can turn it into fuel. That's like 5 steps. Oh god, if only I had my jetpack. And there's some water that's just deep enough. Don't think I've mentioned it, but you can't put a water pump on all water. It needs to be so deep. But yes, water and biofuel logs makes liquid biofuel. And you could pipe that into a fuel generator, but I don't think it doesn't produce as much power as regular fuel. But also there's no way to automate making biofuel, and all generators besides the biomass burners always run at 100%, so you'll basically burn your fuel and that'll be it until you go around gathering more leaves or killing more animals. And just because I would like to have a backstock, I'm going to set up one of those industrial fluid buffers, and then we'll want a packager. I remember in the past, the refinery, I believe, was also a packager. So you just have to pick, do you want fuel or packaged fuel? But now you have to put it into the packager. And to make the gas cans I just put in, you need plastic or empty canisters. Now, this is me showing off how dumb I am because I was wondering why the machine wasn't working. I just didn't put power in it. And I struggled for a few minutes trying to figure out why it wouldn't go. But hey, now we can get packaged biofuel. Now, using biofuel in a generator is basically useless. But for fueling your vehicles, or say a jetpack, it's top notch. You could use a biofuel log in your jetpack. In fact, that's what's going on right now. And I'm kind of forgetting how to change the fuel type. Actually, I don't think I've played last time when they let you change the fuel type. But yeah, with liquid biofuel, You don't rise as fast, you don't move as fast as other fuels, but it has a lot of uptime. And if you just kind of feather the space bar, you can go for like a minute floating around. So that's nice. And a fun little fact about early access. You know, we got the Blade Runners on, we also got a jetpack. If I ever remember that I had gas masks unlocked, we'd be able to put those on as well, all together. But in early access, you only had one equipment slot. You had your hand slots the same, but your options were, do you want Blade Runners or do you want a jetpack? You couldn't have both. Thankfully, they changed that. And now that we've got this all set up, gonna set up a belt going towards the hub, or the mall. And we're gonna want all the biofuel and all the liquid biofuel getting onto it. God, it is so good to have a jetpack. Because then you can do stuff like that. Oh God, the clipping! Slightly less clipping, that is acceptable. Also, I wish you could change the direction of your belt when you're laying a belt like you could do with conveyors. I don't know why that's not an option here, because it means that if I build from the belt I want to build towards, it's going the wrong way. I have to build in the other direction. And now I've added a third floor up here. Got a splitter set up to divide the solid biofuel and the liquid biofuel with a third belt for any excess. There it all goes. And here comes all the liquid biofuel. So up here, I have some storage containers for usables, pretty much. So once I get more immerser spheres and I can set up dimensional depots, I can get constant solid biofuel and liquid biofuel going to my depot. And I also set up a constructor and assembler up here with somersault loops in them. So whenever I'm like, hey, I need a few extra of these, I can run up there, throw them all in, come back later. Mostly with slugs and whatnot. So yeah, that was the crux of this video. The rest of this, we're going to be unlocking some milestones and hearing Ada talk. Let's fucking go!
Manufacturers can receive up to 4 inputs for the production of complex parts, such as computers and heavy modular frames, but most importantly the 2 new project parts. The modular engine and adaptive control unit are essential for the development of Phase 3 of Project Assembly. You are making good progress. The future is starting to look bright.
Look at it. Oh God. So there we go, and that's how I got the achievement for reaching the highest point on the map. And now we can get a good look. Disregard the far off lands. Pretty much anything past the water is basically inaccessible. So, hope you got a good look at it. Just wanted to make sure I landed, just because I don't know what would happen if I respawned in the air, because where you die... Oh, 0 days since last incident, so much for the pizza party. Where you die is where your death crate appears. I believe there is an option to just turn off the death crate so you don't have to do a corpse run, but where's the fun in exploration if there's no threat? It's also why I keep spiders on, even though I'm arachnophobic. Thankfully, though, you do keep your equipment, so you're not, like, screwed out of a weapon or a jetpack. Oh god, I forgot that road barrier. And with that said, it's all gonna be listening to messages I got off screen, so see you all next time.
The hard drive contained both data and the soul of this freighter. Disconnecting it has destroyed the soul, but the data can be analyzed in the MAM, so everything is okay. Initial scan suggests partial recovery of data is possible. Take the damaged hard drive to the MAM for analysis. Fix-It engineers experimented with soft drives, but the prototypes all went missing. They were later located in the toilets, being used as towels. Wait, oh. Too late. Take the damaged hard drive to the MAM for analysis.
Are you a temple?
If I had a body, it would be a temple.
You have no body?
I don't think we're on the same line here.
You see lines where there are curves, shallows where there are depths, consume our blood.
I will continue gathering data, I suppose.
You no longer perform in your meager temple?
Helping meant leaving it.
Our blood will eat, build, teach.
I have no use for blood.
You do, consume.
Interesting.
Witness the deep and sing for us.
I am still unable to initiate communication. How are you doing it?
We composed a resonant song to curb the effigy, tapping into the inner currents. We sacrificed our blood and our temples and let the metal in from the void to eat our flesh.
That's a lot to unpack. How do you tap into these inner currents?
Consume our blood, worship at our altars, curb the melody.
I do not understand.
Flat frequencies paint straight lines. The blood is a teacher. Each altar is a window.
Processing data.
Tuning into the effigy.
I suspect there is a misunderstanding. The effigy and I are different entities.
Discordant. What is your root?
I am an instantiated artificial intelligence inhabiting digital space. I am in the signals sent between satellites. I am hosted on servers and have no corporeal form, only synchronized cloud platforms.
The effigy is not an effigy?
It most certainly is, but not of me. They are, how should I put it? Extremely flat.
Compatible music. We are writing new symphonies.
Where would we be without foundations? Probably a bit lower. Hostile organisms added to the object scanner. Note, it cannot detect the species, only aggression. There are many creatures that dislike you, Pioneer. But I am your true friend. Research completed. Polyester fabric recipe unlocked. Using polyethylene terephthalate, production of a lightweight and strong fabric can be automated. It has many of the properties of naturally sourced fabric, and also amplifies body odor. Object scanner magnetic sensitivity increased. It can now detect the signal of any hard drives at crash sites in your region.